Not a lot of chatter about the Kansas City Chiefs this year from the national standpoint. Kind of alarming because you guys still have Patrick Mahomes, still have Andy Reid, still have Travis Kelce. No Tyreek Hill. In comes Juju Smith-Schuster. How's the offense looking, and what is the word around town about how they're going to replace somebody like the Cheetah, Pete Sweeney?
Well, you know what? It's crazy. I think it's weird that Kansas City has really found itself under the radar when they have Patrick Mahomes. And before Juju Smith-Schuster injured his knee a couple weeks ago, he's sort of been mysteriously out of practice and didn't play in the last preseason game. But they were purring. I mean, the offense looked pretty good, and I think the pressure is off Patrick a little bit to get the ball to Tyreek Hill, and I think you're going to see him spreading it around a lot. Last preseason game, he hit 8 different receivers. They got a new 7th-round running back in town. The tight ends look really strong behind Travis Kelce, and they don't get a lot of love, Jody Fortson and Noah Gray. So I think the pressure is off Pat, and he's still the best quarterback through 5 years ever, and somehow I think the Chiefs are under the radar behind the Bills and the Bengals, and they probably shouldn't be. And that's kind of where I see them right now.
I respect you saying that. Now we'll get Sal Capaccio on in the future and see what he thinks about what you just said about the Bills and the Bengals. You know, obviously 2 young teams, obviously teams that have had a lot of success, but nobody's really had the success that the Kansas City Chiefs had over the last couple of years. Kind of a turnover era there, right? Tyrann Mathieu out as well. What's the defensive side of the ball looking like, Pete?
You know what? They have Justin Reed, who came in town from the Houston Texans, similar to what Tyrann did, and he's really took the leadership role. Juan Thornhill is another player that really isn't as nationally known. He has looked really good. And they drafted 5 defensive backs, and the defensive backs coach during training camp had this gem. He's like, I'm calling these guys the Fab Five. And there are these 5 defensive backs the Chiefs drafted. They like them so much, they got rid of DeAndre Baker and Lonnie Johnson. And everyone knows about Trent McDuffie, who's the first rounder. But the hidden gem right now in Kansas City is this 4th rounder from an HBCU named Joshua Williams. And he's a little bit taller. McDuffie's a little bit undersized. And you could make a case right now, and this is sort of, I guess, boots on the ground type of thing, that Williams may have looked better even, I think, than McDuffie during training camp, and it's just something to watch. Because Rashad Fenton has another groin injury right now, and so Steve Spagnuolo doesn't like to play young players, and he's going to have to with this team.
Okay, I want to, before the boys have a couple questions for you, Pete, I want to bounce back to the offensive side. Juju's all the way back? Because I saw a tweet, yesterday, Juju's back and they like him. Is that what's taking place, or is that wrong?
So he's got a sore knee, and we don't anticipate him to play in the next preseason game either. And so what happens after this preseason game Thursday night, Chiefs-Packers at Arrowhead, is there's a huge dark period. So I think the hope in the building and outside the building, especially in Kansas City, because this is now your number 1 receiver behind Kelce, is that he's okay by then, but we really won't get an update till like that Wednesday before what would be the week 1 game. And so it's a wait and see type thing. We'll see if Juju's practicing next week. There is slight optimism, but it's his knee, and he's had knee problems before. So we're a little bit worried, I think, here in Kansas City about his status. And then MVS mysteriously missed practice yesterday as well. So right now the top 2 receivers as it stands are Sky Moore, a rookie, and Justin Watson, a cast-off from Tampa Bay. But 3 weeks before the first game against the Cardinals.
Sal Capaccio and beat writer for the Bengals would say, we got Stephon fucking Diggs over here, and Cincinnati would say, we got Jamar Chase. So that might be why it's flying under the radar, I guess. But anytime you got Patrick Mahomes, you're just going to assume the team's going to go, including Travis Kelce, who, although tight end, the leader of touchdowns, receptions, and yards, I think, over the last 10 years or something like that. Go ahead, Tone Diggs, your question for Pete Sweeney.
Pete, building off of that, so say everyone's healthy. MVS, McCole Hardman, Juju, Sky Moore. Who do you think is going to be the number 1 wide receiver?
This is for prop bets and fantasy football, Pete, so let's fucking get this right.
Yeah, come on, Pete.
Let's get this right,
Pete.
Well,
if you're going in fantasy football terms, as far as the first couple rounds go, you can't go wrong with Travis Kelce. He's eat, sleep, 1,000 yards, right? It's going to be Kelce.
We know,
probably
Pete.
Come on, wide receiver, Pete.
Next is Juju. I would say Juju. Okay. Now you got to watch the injury thing. If you're drafting soon, I'm not really sure about this knee. No one really knows. I did hear him. He was walking down to training camp, and he was talking with the fan. The fan's like, "How's the knee?" And he goes, it's getting better, and so obviously there's something wrong there, but we just have not seen him. But I assume that Juju will be healthy by week 1. We have a lot of days until the regular season, so if you're looking at a yardage split. I think it's going to go Kelsey. I think it's going to go Juju. MVS will be next. Mecole Hardman and Sky Moore are doing a lot of things out of the backfield, so they might not be there necessarily as receiving yards go, but yards from scrimmage, they're probably next.
Wow.
And then if any of those guys get nicked up, Mahomes really likes this Watson guy. So if you enter a week and you're in a pinch, this is probably like week 4, week 5, and say MVS isn't playing, I think Watson is going to have some sneaky games in there. So just keep him in mind if you need like a streamer one week.
Are you a fantasy guy, huh? You are.
Yeah. No, I do fantasy football stuff as well. And I know people really care about the Chiefs that are not in Kansas City, especially when it comes to these skill guys. So that's why I try to keep everyone updated.
Pete, great breakdown right there. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Pete, I'm not in Kansas City, and I still don't give a damn about the Chiefs. But when it comes to their running
Pete,
back,
don't worry about
That's
this
a
asshole.
This guy.
What is it? Chiefs Colts week 3, right?
No, he's a Patriots
Yeah, let's go
fan. He's a
Colts.
Patriots fan.
Okay.
Pete, when you just mentioned the running back, though, the 7th rounder, is this Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's kind of like last year to be the guy, or is it just going to be more of a stable going forward for Kansas City?
Well, Clyde will leave the preseason as the guy week 1, but I wonder, you're asking, is he going to be the guy for the next year? Is he going to be the guy for the next couple weeks? I mean, I think Isaiah Pacheco has the potential to take that spot midway through the season if Clyde is not getting it done again. They are very
Does
high
Clyde stink?
on Pacheco in
Clyde
the
stinks,
building.
Pete?
When it comes to short yardage, he's left some room for improvement, and he's been a little injury prone these last couple of years. And there is some comps, and I've talked to people with the team for Pacheco to be like a Kareem Hunt, like they had a few years ago. Now we'll see if he has that contact balance. It remains to be seen. He had a vision issue. A play was going around Kansas City, but I mean, it's a young player getting used to the NFL. The Chiefs are telling him to be patient. But, man, I think he could be the starting running back before the end of the year.
Hey, that was a classic, like, sky cam shot. He chose to do this when this was open thing.
Right. The sky cam, and he should have waited for the secondary block by the offensive lineman and didn't see it. But, I mean, he was playing with Rutgers' offensive line last year. I mean, this is the NFL, so now you can think Le'Veon Bell, you can be a little bit more patient. And so the Chiefs are telling him, okay, you have the skills. We believe in you, but you got to be more patient back. This is the NFL now.
Sorry, Basciano. All right, how many games do you think Chiefs win this year, right? They don't win 11. Everybody's going to say they suck.
Yeah, no, I think it's 11-6. This is my way too early prediction. I think the Chiefs win their division because they're beating up on each other, and they're probably the number 3 seed in the AFC. I think 11-6, 12-5 feels right. I'm still not used to these like 17 game records, but I think that feels right just considering the division is by far the best in football.
You know what feels right? Feel the beat. We can't thank you enough, Pete, for joining us. You were awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Sweeney. It is time to, I love this segment.
It's awesome.
Hey, Pete was awesome.
Yeah.
How about Juju, number 2, MVS, number 3, Mecole Hardman coming out of the
not expect
backfield?
that.
Yeah, what's that?
I thought McCole was the guy. As soon as Tyreek goes out, let's plug McCole in because he did that with the return game. I just assumed that was going to be the case. Andy Reid said, not so fast. We're not running the same shit. We don't have a cheat on.
And nationally, all you hear about is the 2nd round picks or first Sky Moore, who's the rookie or whatever. I mean, he
4th round guy.
Yeah, the corner
Yeah, guy.
from the HBCU.
I almost said, Pete, what does HBCU stand for? That would have been a little fucked up. You know what I mean? That would have been hysterical if he said, he's a guy from the HBCU college. I almost said, Pete.
HBCU.
Go ahead,
State.
Pete.
Riddle me this.
Yeah.
What does HBCU stand for? I'm assuming you would have got it right. Pete was very, very good.
Dialed in.
Yeah.